really at the core, sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. I'm
Good.
enthusiastic about my products and services. I love doing it, and I can transfer that to another person. And when I do,
You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for the Live Local Marketing Podcast. Today, we're with Debra. Ma'am, how are we feeling today?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Doing great. We love the setup. You have a nice little nice professional setting here with the mic and everything. It's going to make this so much easier for all of us. We'll do a little bit of background about you and then hop right into the questions. Debra is a leader. Debra is leadership, marketing, and sales culture. No, I'm going to start that over again. I said cult.
Hey, man, some people call it a cult.
Oh, man.
I did learn some brainwashing techniques in college.
Yeah, I can't let that slip. All right. Debra is a leadership, marketing, and sales culture strategist, founder of the Hexagon Media, and the host of the long-running podcast Deals with Heels. You got to listen to that one. It's a fun one. She works with business owners, executives, revenue leaders to build growth rooted in clarity, psychology, and human behavior. Without hype or hustle culture, Debra brings both corporate and entrepreneurial experience to conversations about leadership, sales, and decision-making. With all his experience, I cannot wait to get to the questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Talk to us about your first win as an entrepreneur.
Oh, wow. I've been an entrepreneur for a really long time, but I think my first win when I started my life over was really having enough, being able to go out on my own, actually on my own, not building businesses that I have lots of partners in, but when I'm like it by myself and I made that decision. And as soon as I made it, it's like the universe aligned to me. And I was like the clients, then everything was clicking. And for me, that was such a big moment because it was validation that I'm on the right path. You know, when the friction disappears, you're not feeling that anymore, then you know, okay, this way. The key is when you feel the friction, don't force it. Take a step back. What's the friction caused from so that you can pivot and then go in that easier direction. It's not that it's not difficult. It's that you have to force it. It feels like friction.
Yeah.
So it's not letting go of the work. But so when that happened, man, it was beautiful. It felt so good as an entrepreneur to know that you're on the right path. That was one of the best feelings ever as an entrepreneur. Better than any sale, better than adding a client, just aligning and knowing how right it felt.
I would think then too, your first hire probably had a big impact on you. Would I be guessing correctly?
I've hired so many people over my marketing career in corporate America. I often had 50 people that were under me with a pad of people that directly. And before I decided to start my agency, I tiptoed back into kind of that world with employees. And I was doing sales training for an election. And I had 35 people that worked directly for me because it was a short time frame. And so, man, I don't ever want to do that again. I'm like, hiring is, dual-edged sword kind of for me. I love training people, but for me, really, it was about alignment and knowing. We so rarely know as an entrepreneur that this is the right thing. And when I did, man, that was the magic.
That's awesome. All right. So you've done a lot of different things and you have lots of experience. So I'm excited to hear what your best habit is as an entrepreneur.
You know, it is meditation. It really is meditation.
Okay.
I have been an avid meditator for about 15 years and I go off and on. In fact, I had a spurt. Winter is hard for me. I like to meditate outside and it's been really dang cold in Oklahoma and it gets me off my game. But meditation brings me emotional regulation. God, that's key as an entrepreneur to be able to not get upset, not be emotionally affected by the things that happen, by the rejection, by something that didn't work as well as you thought it was going to, by what competitors are doing. How are they getting it? Right. All of those things affect us so emotionally. And being able to not feel emotional about it so that I can step back and make a conscious, smart, well thought out planned decision is everything. So meditation is really the key for that. The other thing about meditation is so lots of people say, I can't meditate. I can't clear my mind. We're not supposed to clear our minds. A human with a clear mind is comatose. That's not the point of meditation. Meditation is the process of clearing all that stuff out so that you can think and have all of that. So when you first sit down to do it, your thoughts are really racing because they haven't been heard. You've been inundating them with data and videos and content.
Yes.
And so they need to be heard. You haven't processed those thoughts and they just start coming. But after you've sat quietly for 5 minutes for a few days in a row, those get fewer and fewer. And now I get huge creative downloads, and that's what I call them, but they're ideas and they come during meditation. And when that happens, boy, it's a great idea. It's not always about my business. Sometimes it's about someone else's business, but removing all the noise so that you can clearly think and align and know what to do and let your creativity shine. That's 1000% the best habit I have as an entrepreneur.
God, that's some great advice. All right. So talk to us about a truth in marketing that you wish more people knew about. A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
This one's easy.
Okay.
So I work at the center of buyer behavior, marketing strategy, and the sales cycle. We focus a lot on branding. It's a big thing. It's a buzzword in agencies, and those agencies do great work. They get businesses to look inward, discover things about your company that make you different, that make you stand out, that make you who you are as a company. We forget to look outward and look at the buyer. And that's what I do. Looking at the buyer, remembering we're here for a reason, and that's to sell something. Sales is not a dirty word. Sales culture is important. Your whole organization needs to know how you feel about selling. How do you work on it? How do you implement it? They need to know how important that person that doesn't have a sales job is, but that answers the phone and talks to customers and potential customers every day. That demand building, that is where the key is, because really at the core, sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. I'm enthusiastic about my products and services. I love doing it, and I can transfer that to another person. And when I do, then I can either get a sale or I can get a referral. But if you haven't done that prep work and you haven't built any demand at all, you haven't talked to them, they don't know anything about you, you haven't had them invest in you as the time, you haven't invested the time to build that demand, then that enthusiasm feels like pressure. Like, why are you talking so loud at me? It feels like pressure. So focusing and remembering, when you sat down with a customer, your best customer, the best prospect you could possibly get, what do you want them to know about you before you sit down? And you can't think about price and you can't think about packaging, right? Don't think about, you don't want them to know your price. You don't want them to know how valuable it is.
No.
Everything else about your company, about your services, why they're valuable, why do people need your service at all? All of that. That's what I wish people think about, is that part of it.
Yeah. So would it be true to say that all businesses start inside with you and then work its way outside and you help with the clarity on the outside part, because most people have like the inside part, a pretty good grasp of it.
For the most part, yes.
For the most.
So I work a lot with branding agencies because
Okay.
they get to a point when you're working with a branding agency as an entrepreneur, you get to a point where your growth plateaus.
Yeah.
Because there's
You're
only
out.
so much talking about yourself and your values and
Yeah.
how, right? And so
Yeah.
looking at it from the buyer perspective and sales psychology, who is this potential buyer? Who is this prospect? Who are the class of that prospect? How do they view life? What makes them excited? What makes them hesitate? What makes them take a step back? And that sales psychology is really where my magic happens. Is I'm very well versed in that. My marketing expertise is based in working for big companies that were highly competitive. They had huge sales teams. And really, my job was to warm that market up. Well, we don't do a lot of warming. We do a lot of selling, and no one wants to feel like they're being salesy and applying pressure. So the way you avoid that is to have a true connection and build demand, not just for you as a business, but for your products and services and for you as the provider of choice for those products and services.
That's perfect. That's a great answer. All right. So as you're working with those people, you're helping them identify their customers and all the pain points. What things do you still do hands-on, and what things are we now handing off to a team?
I do all of the strategy hands-on.
Okay.
That lives in my brain. I can't transfer that experience to someone else. And people get used to, well, Debra likes to do this. But until I dive in with a business and learn about them and their brand and then their buyers, right? One of the big things I love to ask someone is, when you started your business, you had a list of people that you thought, I'm going to get business here, right? You have that list. There's at least one group of people on that list that you haven't tapped into. And you were probably right at the beginning when you said, boy, these realtors, they're going to be big for me. But you haven't built demand within them yet. It's not that realtors aren't a good prospecting source for you. They probably are. If you thought that from the beginning, you probably had that pretty well thought out. The disconnect is the connection. They're not able to connect with them in a meaningful way and build demand within that group, whoever it is. I love to ask that question because we all have it. We all have one in our back. Like, I just knew I was going to get business from this group of people, that families, they were going to be the deal. And I haven't gotten any of those.
Nice. All right.
So I do.
So,
I like to dig in on that
hands-on.
customer and buyer side.
Nice. Are we doing any stuff with AI? Do you hand off any things to AI, or use that as a tool as well right now?
I definitely do. And
Okay.
I'll be honest, it took me a bit to get there.
Because you're so personal, like you're so hands-on. That's why.
Well, and I mean, I do delegate some things. What I don't delegate is are the things that that require my brain. Require my experience. I can delegate with an explanation. So once I've worked out that strategy, I can delegate those templates. But I landed in a different place, I think, with AI than some people did in marketing. I don't use it to really create content. I don't use it to create marketing plans necessarily. I use it within my own expertise.
Okay.
So I'll have deep conversations. I'll discuss some marketing strategy and why I think it should be this instead. And I have really big boundaries, because AI will do what it thinks that you want it to do, right? It's only as good as the person that's prompting it. So for me, I get in and I like seeing the response in black and white. I'm just a big nerd. If I didn't want to look cute, I would have unmatching wrinkle clothes and a pocket protector. I love to learn and get deep and figure things out. And I can also be really hard on myself. And I think as a woman, especially from my generation, I'm 59, definitely right in that Gen X older group. And I learned that we had value through achievement. And can be very hard on myself and very humble. As women, we put everybody first. We talk about everybody else being great. And when it comes time to shout about ourselves and talk about how wonderful we are, it's hard for a lot of us. And so I like to put a bunch of stuff in there and start researching different methods of language. And boy, I like to see it come back in black and white without any emotion involved in it. And then I'm able to be very diligent about, okay, well, if those stats are true, then it's okay for me to say this. And it gives that little bit of validation back to me too. But I really think AI is a valuable tool. It's a valuable tool in marketing. It's not a crutch. You can't use it to replace expertise. You can't become this fantastic marketing person by writing an AI prompt. You can learn a lot from AI about marketing. And so I prefer to use it within what my own expertise already is. A good example is I can use it and talk strategy and develop a great strategy where I get challenged and my AI assistant gets challenged, and her name is Nova. But I can also say, hey, I need some help building this go high level automation, and I don't know how to do it. And she can give me step-by-step instructions on how to do it. That doesn't mean that I'm an expert. That doesn't mean I can figure out the instructions. Right? But I can use it as a tool to teach me something that I don't already know, which boy, it's still teaching me something that I don't already know. There's some time that's involved in that. And then there's using it within your own expertise with boundaries and questions. And that is where the sweet spot for AI is for me.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the client that has a medium budget. They have just enough money and they're like, hey, listen, we want to do the things that are important to make our business to that next level. We have medium money. We're not broke. We have some, but we need to get to the next echelons of our business. What kind of strategies, what kind of techniques, what kind of discussions are you having with them?
Well, once again, I'm going to get right back into their targets. I really like to think about marketing like farming.
Okay.
Especially for demand building. And because a farmer doesn't plant one row of crops and expect everything to grow from that one thing.
No.
That would be foolish. They plant different crops at different times of the year. Those crops require a different amount of time. They require different nutrients, different amounts of sunshine, different amounts of water, and more importantly, they harvest at different times of the year. So finding those categories of your clients, what crops are we planting for you? How long do they need to be in the ground for them to work? How long do we need to nurture them? If we're talking about a whole group of thinkers, wow, boy, they need a lot of information. They're going to be in the ground a lot longer than the headliners that don't read anything but the headline. I think a bunch of us all fight for the headliners because they're the quick sales. But so knowing that, I have those conversations with people to find out what those categories are. Then we can put a plan together of, okay, you really need quick revenue. So we're not going to focus, and we have to focus on the thinkers because they're going to be 3 months from now. But right, figuring all of that out, picking one or two, and then identifying some clear targeting strategies for once you know them, we know, where are they? Where can we find them? What message do they respond to? Do they need a discount or will that turn them off because that will mean it's crap and we don't want it? Those types of conversations that we have help me identify where's a great place for them to spend their media dollars that isn't going to be wasted.
Oh, that's really good. I like the farm analogy. That's really good. All right, so you've been at this for a minute or two, a couple of years here and there. Talk to us about strategies that you don't do anymore that really aren't there. The ROI is not there anymore.
Well, definitely newspaper. That's
Oh,
gone.
okay.
That when I first started, remember I'm old. I got my first job out of college in 1990, and things were different then. And so as we grow and learn, but I learned so much. Print newspaper was king back then. Newspapers exist now, magazines exist. I think the ROI is difficult on print alone. You
Got it.
have to be able to combine that with something else, whether that's digital retargeting ads. We all know what those search retargeting ads are, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sell a lot
Yeah.
of those and some retargeting packages. They're memorable.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers when they searched for the new pair of
Yeah,
sunglasses that they wanted, and now they're getting ads for sunglasses.
everywhere.
You notice them, you pay attention to them, they're cheap, and they're targeted, and they're trackable. And they allow you to spread one search budget across multiple platforms because it doesn't matter where they search. They can search on Google, Bing, social media, Yahoo, which most people don't realize, but people over 60% of
Yahoo?
us search on
Really?
Yahoo.
I did not know that.
Right? I questioned it. When I
That is
first read that
crazy.
statistic, it was over 55, and only 25% of people over the age of 55 use Google. So if
Yeah.
you're looking at that older demographic and wondering why you're not getting that directional ad
Try
support,
Yahoo.
you're in the wrong place. And I was like, well, I remember Yahoo was so big, and that was before Google got all the exclusivity on the phones.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the way, that's all been broken up. They lost their antitrust case with the federal government. Google's being broken up. There's a big fight
Yeah.
over what to do. But
They'll find a way.
Yahoo, so I was like, I don't believe it. I went the deep dive rabbit hole on Yahoo search, and I realized I am on the Yahoo news page every single day.
So you're a part of
Every
it.
day.
That's funny.
I'm just not
That is
searching
hilarious.
there. I just don't pop up. I didn't even think about that little search thing being at the top of the Yahoo news page, but
Didn't
I'm
even
on
think of
that
that.
news page every day. And so I'm just like right at that. I'm like almost that full demo. But if you get on Yahoo and you search ever, you will see that it's very plain. And older people like that, they don't want to be inundated with all of the things. And it's very Yelp driven. And so everyone older is used to yellow pages and how those things work, and it feels comfortable for this. So I've been down this. So knowing where they are, knowing how to contact them, but print definitely is the thing that's on the back burner for me. I'm willing to consider almost any kind of advertising, and that print, it's got to be very targeted and great distribution and readership, and it needs to be included in another medium. You got to have other things. You got to have a lot of things anyway because of the touch points necessary to get someone to buy these days. But for paying, print's expensive. If it's good print, it's expensive, and they want a contract and they want you, but the good ones will tie it in with digital advertising, and those types of things make it better. But for me, that's a difficult sale.
We probably could do an entire episode about the mindset shift of the buyer that used to get all their information from the newspaper and then set it down on the table and walk away and have their day. Whereas now you're walking around with the advertising in your hands at all times. Like, we could have a whole episode about the mindset shift, the difference of the buyers from not even that long ago, 1990s until now. Like, it's a whole episode. It's mind blowing.
It is. And it's coming at people so fast. I mean,
it is.
All of them. Used to, you could say, okay, 3 to 5 times they have to see my ad and interact so that I can sell them. But man, they were seeing it. There was one screen in the room. When the commercial came on, you went to the bathroom or you waited or you got something to eat, but it's not the same. So now you're looking at 15. All the little bitty things matter. And I'm sure you've heard this too, Billy, where the CFO is, okay, which one of these things is working so we can cancel the rest? Dude, if
All of
it's
them.
working, don't muck up the recipe.
They're all working. They're all working. That's
It
the
works
problem.
together. If we found the
Yes.
perfect recipe, don't change anything.
No, when you make cake, you don't just put flour in there. That tastes terrible. You got to throw other stuff in there too, right? Otherwise,
Right.
the cake won't taste the same. All
And
right. So,
that has never been truer than it is right now.
yeah, that's absolutely true. Yes. Let's talk about burnout because that's the trendy thing. That's what everybody's chatting about. And I like to get everybody's take, their insights, and you have such experience that I'm excited about your answer. What kinds of things you talked about the meditation a little bit? What kind of things are you doing to, avoid the burnout, helping your team avoid burnout?
Being team focused is really important. And burnout, I asked a guest on my own podcast one time, how do I know that I'm burned out and I'm not just stressed out?
That's good.
And the real difference is resentment. Once
Oh.
you start resenting things that you normally wouldn't resent, then you've crossed over and you're starting to get burned out. And that's a place where we make poor decisions. And I had a client and they were talking about, it was another agency that we were working in collaboration, and he was having a content creator that they had worked with a lot that he said, I think they're gone. I don't think they're going to work with us anymore. They were just so, and they had been getting some client feedback and they had become resentful of the client feedback about the content. Okay, that's your whole job, is to get client feedback. So once he crossed over into being resentful of the feedback from his clients, he's resentful of his clients. He's resentful of what they think. Now he is deep into burnout and walked away from business, walked away from clients, killed relationships, burned bridges. And that, boy, you have got to really recognize when you're crossing over. Now, the best thing is to do self-care and preventative maintenance so that you're clear about why you're doing it. Why am I here? Why is this important to me? And sometimes we've all been there in our life where I'm just here to make a buck.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes we've all been there, and hopefully we don't stay there, because you live in burnout. If you're there, trading hours for dollars is no way to live. And so but once you start to feel that, you have to take a step back and you have to take time away from the thing that's burning you out and get clarity again. Clarity, I think, is a big buzzword in the coaching world.
It is.
And I'm a sales coach. But being clear about why you're doing it, why you're passionate about it, about all of the things that made you choose to be in this profession, right? And once you can do that, if you can do that every day, if you can have gratitude every day, if you can practice those small things, it can help you recenter. For me, avoiding burnout isn't about always being in kumbaya and being all of that. It's about recognizing when I'm on my way there, right? I can go deep into my reserve tank and not know I'm there. No one knows I'm there until I crash. And then it was, I guess I was there. So that internal clock and recognizing it is the most important thing. And then being able to recognize it and seeing it in your team, that's critical. Knowing that your guy's saying, no, I can do it, and that they've worked 11 days in a row.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? What they say and what, because they don't want, they're putting their best foot forward too, but no one works 11 days in a row and doesn't need time off. And maybe they need the money. Maybe they're doing it because they can't say no to you because they have a problem with that. Whatever the reason is, as a leader, it's your job to recognize everyone needs a day off. Everyone needs time to recalibrate. And you can see it when your people are in there. And when they cross over into burnout, that's when they generate smoke. And that's
Yeah.
what I call it when you're sitting in a room and it's filled with smoke, and that's negativity and burnout and complaining and bitching about
Yeah.
your
It doesn't work.
supervisor and the pay
Yeah.
and everything. Now that smoke is in your business and it gets on everything.
Yeah.
So it
That's good.
does. You can't get it off. It's everywhere. It seeps in and it infects. So it's really important to prevent it. And I think there's a big lack of that in corporate world
Yeah.
these
It's
days.
true. That's great advice. You see it coming. That's great advice. All right. So we're going to head this out. We're going to let you do the outro. We're going to have you talk about where people can get a hold of you and gather your content so they can learn more.
The best place to reach out to me is on my website, hexagonmedia.net. You can link to all my emails, my social media from there. I'm on all the social media because I'm marketing and we all are, but LinkedIn is likely the best place to get me. And then I also have a free resource that I think I sent you a link to, and I will if I didn't. It's called the
It'll be in the show
Human
notes.
Sales Playbook. And it's a short ebook that I wrote that helps you connect in a meaningful way so that when you're selling, you're not pressuring and you're not sounding salesy. And it gives tips on emotional regulation, how to settle down, how to be prepared for an appointment. And so I'll send you that. I think that's very helpful, not just from a sales perspective, but from a marketing and just an entrepreneurial perspective, to be able to take a breath before I have this conversation and remind yourself. Like there's an exercise in it that talks about where you write out the sentence, right? A sentence of why this is important. And that becomes your anchor sentence that you can reflect back on when you're burned out. So I'd love for everyone to check out that. I think it's really valuable. I worked really hard on it also. And then my podcast is called Deals with Heels. This week we had our 104th episode. It's a really big deal.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's available on all platforms, new episodes every Tuesday.
Awesome. So make sure you tap into her, get into at least the podcast and the freebie, because you can tell just how hands-on and genuine and personal Debra is. So if you want to run a business that is that same way, she's the perfect person to get a hold of and get contact with. So we appreciate your time and your knowledge today. And, I'm going to have to hop on there and try it out for myself too, actually.
Thank you. I'd love for you to check it out and let me know what you think. Other sales professionals, you're always like, man, I'd like the sales professional to look at it too, because it ties back into that. But it dabbles in a little bit of buyer personalities.
Perfect.
So that you can kind of gauge who you're talking to. It's really surface level. And if you're interested in that, I'd love to talk to you about coaching.
That is awesome. All right. Well, thank you for your time and your help today and for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Such a great show. Loved it.
And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals.